Welcome back to Families Through Surrogacy. You know we love to bring you in-depth looks at different surrogacy destinations, and today we're diving deep into Georgia. It's a city that's rapidly becoming a hotspot for international surrogacy. We'll uncover why Tbilisi is attracting so many intended parents, and even give you a glimpse into daily life there. So get ready, because we're about to take a deep dive.
It's incredible how Tbilisi has emerged as such a key player in the surrogacy world. You've hit the nail on the head. Understanding the why, the what, and the how is so important for anyone even thinking about this path.
Definitely. So let's start with the why. What is it about Tbilisi that's making it such a magnet for intended parents?
Well, two major factors really stand out. First off, Georgia has a really solid legal framework for surrogacy, especially Article 143 of their family code. It very clearly states that intended parents are recognized as the legal parents from the moment the baby is born. This legal certainty is a huge draw, it basically eliminates potential legal battles down the line, which can be a major worry in other places.
That's a game changer,
Yeah.
especially considering surrogacy is already an emotional roller coaster.
Hmm.
Having that legal clarity right from the get-go must be so reassuring for intended parents.
Absolutely. It lets them focus on what truly matters, welcoming their new baby. The second big factor is affordability. Surrogacy costs in Georgia are significantly lower compared to a lot of Western countries. This accessibility makes it possible for families who might not have even considered this path before.
Wow, so we've got legal security and affordability. Sounds pretty good so far. But let's actually dive into the laws themselves. What are the specifics that intended parents really need to be aware of?
Okay, so currently Georgian law allows commercial surrogacy, but only for heterosexual married couples. That's a key restriction to keep in mind. And just to be clear, when we say commercial surrogacy, we mean that the surrogate receives financial compensation for carrying the pregnancy. This is different from altruistic surrogacy, where only their expenses are covered.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So there are some definite criteria to meet. What about the surrogate's rights in all of this?
Another super important point is that under Georgian law, surrogates don't have parental rights over the child born through the surrogacy arrangement. This gives intended parents that extra legal clarity and peace of mind, ensuring a much smoother transition.
That definitely streamlines things from a legal perspective. You said currently, which makes me wonder, could these laws change?
That's always a possibility.
Hmm.
There have been discussions recently about banning commercial surrogacy in Georgia. Although those talks didn't lead to a ban this time around, anyone considering this path really needs to stay informed about potential legal shifts. Things can change, and being prepared is essential.
Couldn't agree more. Informed decision-making is crucial. But let's shift gears a bit from the legal stuff. Let's talk about what life is actually like in terms of daily living.
It's got this unique blend of old world charm and modern amenities. For intended parents, finding the right accommodation is the first step. Don't be afraid to negotiate rates for longer stays directly with the accommodation. You might be surprised at the deals you can get. Also, make sure to double check their flexibility on booking dates, especially if there are any delays, which, let's be honest, can sometimes happen.
Flexibility is key, especially when traveling for such a big life event. What about location? Does it matter where you stay in Tbilisi?
Location is more important than you think, honestly. Being able to walk to shops, cafes, and supermarkets can make your life a whole lot easier, especially with a newborn. It's way more convenient than having to rely on public transport with a baby. Public transport and taxis are readily available and pretty reliable. However, one thing to keep in mind is that baby and toddler car seats aren't really the norm over there.
Wait, really? That seems like a bit of a safety issue, especially when you're traveling with a tiny baby.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. Unless your clinic provides a car seat, which some do, especially for that first trip from the hospital, you might find yourself holding your baby during car rides. Ride-hailing apps like Bolt are really popular in Tbilisi, and they can be a safer alternative.
Good to know. All right, time for the important question, food. What can intended parents expect?
Oh man, Georgian food is just amazing. You absolutely have to try khachapuri. It's this incredible cheese bread, and kinkali, which are these delicious meat dumplings. Trust me, your taste buds will thank you.
Georgian food is getting rave reviews. What about for people who aren't as adventurous with food, especially in a new country?
No worries, plenty of international cuisine. And food delivery apps like Bolt Food, Wolt, and Glovo are super popular there. They offer a huge variety of choices delivered right to your door.
That's reassuring. Sounds like there's something for everyone. Are there any other daily life hacks that could be helpful for navigating Tbilisi?
Absolutely. My top tip, download Google Translate. It will seriously be your best friend. From figuring out menus to understanding what's on product labels in supermarkets, it can save you from some potentially confusing situations.
I can only imagine the translation mishaps waiting to happen. That reminds me of this one time I tried to order chicken surprise
Yeah.
using a translation app in another country. And, well, let's just say it was definitely a surprise and not in a good way.
Oh, we've all been there, believe me.
Yeah. So we've covered the basics of life in Tbilisi, but I'm curious, are there any overall tips for navigating the actual surrogacy journey itself while you're there? What would you suggest to make the experience as smooth as possible?
The most important thing is to embrace flexibility. Things might not always go exactly to plan, especially with paperwork. It can take weeks after the birth to finalize everything. Patience is key in those moments.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Exactly. While you're waiting, try to settle into a rhythm that works for you. Maybe that means exploring the city and soaking in the culture, or maybe it's about creating a peaceful routine with your newborn. Do what feels right for you.
It's all about finding your own groove.
I know some people advise against strollers because of the street conditions, but honestly, I've found to be quite stroller friendly. But of course, baby carriers are always a great option too, especially for those charming cobblestone streets in the older parts of the city.
Good to have options. All right, we've covered a lot. Why Tbilisi is attracting intended parents, the legal landscape, and what daily life is like. Now, let's talk about bringing baby home. What do intended parents need to know about this final step?
This is where organization and preparation are absolutely essential. Work closely with your agency or legal representative to make sure all the necessary documents, like the baby's passport, birth certificate, and any travel permits, are in order.
That sounds critical. Anything else to ensure a smooth transition home?
Remember, those processing times for passports and travel permits can vary depending on your home country. Start the process early and give yourselves plenty of time, especially since you'll have a newborn with you.
So planning and communication are essential. This has
Yeah.
been incredibly insightful. I feel like we've painted a comprehensive picture of what to expect with surrogacy in Tbilisi.
It's a really unique journey. I'm glad we could shed some light on the key aspects.
This deep dive has been so helpful. Be sure to subscribe to our weekly podcasts on Spotify and YouTube so you don't miss an episode.
And don't forget to connect with us on our families through Surrogacy Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok pages.
We share live news updates, helpful tips and tricks, and we love to engage with our community on all things surrogacy related.
Tbilisi is more than just a practical place to go for surrogacy.
Oh, I'm so interested to hear more about that.
It really embraces families
Mm.
with a warmth and hospitality that is honestly so special. You feel it everywhere, from the local shops to the parks to the restaurants. Georgians have a true love for children, especially babies.
You know, I've heard that. Is there a cultural reason for this deep love for kids?
Oh, it's definitely woven into Georgian culture. Family is everything here, and children are just treasured. There's this feeling of community responsibility for bringing up the next generation, and you really see that in how people interact with little ones. It's totally normal for strangers to stop and admire babies, say something kind to parents, or even offer help.
That's lovely. It must make the whole thing even more special for intended parents, feeling so welcome and supported, particularly when they're far from home.
Absolutely. It adds this layer of warmth and connection to the journey. It's like becoming part of a big extended family.
I love that. It sounds like Tbilisi really gets the whole idea of families coming together in all their different forms. Speaking of embracing the city, what are some must-see spots in Tbilisi? Places intended parents could explore while they're there.
Oh, Tbilisi's full of them. The Old Town is a must-see. Picture winding cobblestone streets, ancient churches, those traditional houses with the ornate balconies, and charming cafes tucked away in corners. It's like stepping back in time.
Oh, I can just see myself getting lost in those streets, soaking up the atmosphere, maybe having a strong Georgian coffee.
Right. And then you have to see the Narikala Fortress. It's perched on a hilltop overlooking the city with the most incredible views. It is a bit of a climb, but trust me, the view is worth it. And if you're into art and culture, Tbilisi has a really vibrant art scene. The Georgian National Museum is great to explore the country's history and culture, and there are so many art galleries all over the city showcasing both traditional and contemporary Georgian art.
Are there any particular galleries that you would recommend?
Fabrika Tbilisi is a really unique spot. It's an old Soviet sewing factory that's been transformed into this creative hub with art studios, shops, cafes, even a hostel. It's a great place to experience the creative energy of Tbilisi and see the city's modern side.
That's so cool, repurposing spaces and giving them new life. What about green spaces, parks? Are there places to escape the city and just relax?
Mintatsminda Park, at the top of a mountain, is another must-visit. It has amusement park rides, walking trails, and even more amazing views of the city. If you're looking for something more peaceful, Vake Park is perfect for a relaxing stroll or a picnic. It even has a lake where you can rent boats and just enjoy the peace and quiet.
Wow, history, culture, nature, and of course those warm and welcoming people we talked about. It's such a great mix. But let's come back to the surrogacy journey for a minute. Are there any specific support systems or resources available?
Absolutely. Most surrogacy agencies have local representatives who can help with everything from translation to navigating the healthcare system. They're there to guide you every step of the way.
Oh, that must be so reassuring. Having someone on the ground who really understands the whole process.
It makes a world of difference. There are also online communities and forums, especially for intended parents. Sharing experiences, tips, and advice with people who are in the same boat can be so valuable.
It's all about building that support network and feeling less alone.
Exactly. And don't forget, communication is so important throughout this whole process. Don't be afraid to ask questions, express your concerns, and really advocate for what you need. Your agency, your lawyer, even other intended parents are there to help you.
Such great advice. Okay, let's fast forward a bit. Imagine everything goes perfectly, the baby is born healthy, all the legal documents are sorted, and it's time to go home. What are those final steps for intended parents leaving Tbilisi with their newborn?
The most important thing is to make sure all your travel documents are in order. So the baby's passport, birth certificate, and any travel permits you need for your home country. Those processing times can vary, so it's really important to start this process as early as possible.
I imagine going through airport procedures with a newborn can be a bit daunting. Do you have any tips to make that part a little easier?
Most airlines are really good with families traveling with infants. Let them know in advance that you'll have a baby with you, and they can arrange things like a bassinet for the flight. Also, don't stress about packing absolutely everything. Essentials like diapers and formula are pretty easy to find in most countries.
That's good to know. Less to pack, less to worry about. It's all about simplifying, especially with a newborn.
For sure. And my last piece of advice for the flight home, just relax and enjoy the moment. You've been through such an incredible journey, and you're finally bringing your little one home. Embrace that feeling of joy.
We want to remind you to subscribe to our weekly podcasts on Spotify and YouTube.
And don't forget to join our families through Surrogacy Community on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're there to support you every step of the way.
So what are some of the key things intended parents should research or think about before they take that leap?
Well, the first thing is thoroughly checking out potential surrogacy agencies and clinics. Really do your homework there. Don't be shy about asking those tough questions about their experience, their success rates, and how they support both intended parents and surrogates throughout the entire journey.
Due diligence is key, for sure.
Any specific tips for handling those emotional ups and downs while you're in Tbilisi? Finding ways to connect with other intended parents going through the same thing can be a huge help. A lot of agencies have support groups or online forums where you can share your experiences, give advice, and build that sense of community. Knowing you're not alone can make a world of difference.
Community is so powerful. What about language barriers?
While more and more people speak English in Tbilisi, especially in healthcare and legal settings, having a basic understanding of Georgian or using translation services can be helpful for everyday life. Even just knowing simple phrases for shopping, ordering food, or asking directions can make your stay a lot more comfortable.
Those are great tips. It sounds like preparation is key, both practically and emotionally.
Yeah.
Now, let's say someone is listening. They've done all their research. They're ready to start this journey. What's the one piece of advice, the golden nugget you would give them?
Trust your gut. Gather all the information, weigh the pros and cons, and then listen to that inner voice.
Beautifully said. This deep dive has been truly eye-opening. We've covered so much ground. I feel like anyone listening now has a really good grasp of what this journey involves.
It's been fantastic sharing these insights. I hope this deep dive has given our listeners the knowledge and confidence to make those big decisions and approach this life-changing journey head-on.
A huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on Families Through Surrogacy. Remember, you're not alone on this path. Our podcast, along with our amazing community on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, is here to support you every step of the way. We're here to offer information, resources, and a sense of connection as you navigate this incredible journey to parenthood.
And for anyone out there thinking about surrogacy in Tbilisi, I encourage you to explore further, connect with others who've been there, and trust in the power of this wonderful city to embrace you and your dreams.
Thank you for being a part of Families Through Surrogacy. Until next time, we wish you all the very best on your journey to parenthood.